Yes, so we're in the garage, the workshop today to go over all of the details on the both lighting. These are the RF-1 and RF-4. They also make an RF-3. But we're going to go over all the specs and all the details. If you guys are not already following me on Instagram, do so right here at DJRickWeb. I've been posting about these guys for the last 2 weeks because we've been testing them non-stop. We've been doing battery testing, cycle testing. We've been seeing all the functionalities, all the quirks and features of these lights so that I can make this video and educate you guys before you decide to buy these lights. So in today's video, we're going to break this up into 5 different segments. First segment, I'm going to be talking about basically all the specs and the features of the 3 different models, the RF-4, the RF-1, the RF-3, just for you guys, all the specs, all the details that you guys might need to know. We're also going to put timestamps right here for all these different sections, so if you want to go to this section, it's the first section, will be right after this. Then we're going to go through the functionality, how do these lights work when it comes to DMX, the remote control for them, and linking them, master slave, how all that works. We're going to go through that in the functionality as well as charging and all of those details. Then we're going to compare these lights to some other models that Both Lighting offers, like this bad boy right here, the S4, my personal favorite light. Then we're going to wrap things up with 2 little quick segments on my personal opinions, what applications do I think these are best suited for, what my company Fusion Sound Lighting is going to be purchasing these for as well. That's right, we're going to be buying some of these for a certain usage. And lastly, how you guys can purchase these lights if you guys are interested in getting the best deal with the best customer service possible. Hint, hint, you'll know more in a second. But before we get into our lights today, we do need to thank today's sponsor, and today's sponsor is myself, my company, Fusion Sound Lighting, which is practically me. So I am today's sponsor because if you guys didn't already know, me, myself, my company, Fusion Sound Lighting, FSL, we are the only United States-based dealer for Both Lighting. And for you guys that don't understand that concept, basically we're like a local business or a local company that you can buy Both Lighting from. So therefore, we are based here in the United States. We're in North Carolina. If you have any issues, or well, first off, we can help you purchase the product. So you purchase the product directly from us. We'll handle all the back and forth between the Chinese-based company to make sure that you get your lights in hand. And then beyond that, if you have any single issue with your lights, we provide a 1-year warranty on all of our products that we sell. And if you have any issues, we strive to make it 100% right. Literally, we just had a customer the other day. He got a 10-unit case. He said it was too heavy. I said, ship it back to me. We'll get you the right lights that you need. We'll refund you. We'll make sure that you are absolutely set up with the best products possible. If you have any issues with your lights, we have spare parts laying around. We have all of the different models in-house so that we can send you replacement units extremely fast and get you up and running for your events. We 100% strive to make sure that every one of our customers is taken care of with the best customer service possible, and that is our guarantee. Anyways, let's get into the models. Alright, so we're on the workbench here to talk about the RF-1 and the RF-4, but also there's the RF-3 that fills the middle gap between these 2 lights, and I will describe the specs of all of them as well. So right here we're looking at the RF-1 and the RF-4. The first thing we want to talk about is the actual LEDs inside of these lights. So all of them have the same diodes. They're all 12-watt diodes. So you have 4 of them on the 4, of course, 3 on the 3, and 1 on the single. They are hex, so all the colors of the rainbow, red, green, blue, amber, UV, and white, the best of the best, all good there. These diodes in particular, they are a very wide angle coverage. They have a 25-degree angle, and what that means is if you look at the light like this, it's 25 degrees from the flat up is when you're going to see the light. So this is hard to show on camera. I'm going to turn the light on real quick. So what that means is basically from parallel here, you will start to see the light 25 degrees up. So it is a very wide angled coverage, and you'll see that in some of our comparison photos that we have of these lights versus say the S4 over here, which has a 45-degree beam angle. So 45 degrees, again, it's higher up, so it's more of a narrow coverage pattern in comparison to these, which have a 25-degree angle. If you guys are familiar with some of the other uplights from Both Lighting, these diodes are practically the same as the S6. So if you have S6 lights, it's the same sort of wide coverage pattern that you'll find. Weight-wise, we're looking at 1.3 pounds on the single, extremely light, and then the tri and the quad, the RF-3, RF-4, both of those come in at 2.2 pounds. So basically 2 pounds and 1.5 pounds. Extremely light, lights to handle. Now, in terms of ordering configuration, basically how you're going to transport all of these lights, we do have two configuration options for you guys. One is a 8-unit charging sort of briefcase. There's a charging strip in there that connects to an IEC on the outside, but it holds 8 of these lights, which if you do the math on that, you're looking at pretty much a 15-pound briefcase for the singles for 8 of them, or you're looking at a 20 to 25-pound briefcase for 8 of the quads or the tri, so the RF-3 or RF-4. Pretty light. I mean, you can carry basically 8 lights for 25 pounds per case, which is extremely light when you consider the S4 over here. 4 of these in a soft bag is 25 pounds. Now, personally, I think the 8-unit road cases are the best option because they are pretty compact, as you can see from the photos. I don't personally have any here to show just yet. I have an order in for 16 of them for our company personally, because I want to use the cases. I think they're excellent for rentals. That's coming later. But they also have soft bags as well. So these are a little bit different. They're like long and skinny, and they have 6 pouches in here. But the outer 2 pouches, they come with the chargers, and then there are 4 lights in the center. So they come in these 4-unit soft bags as well that you can use. And if you do the math weight wise, a 4-unit bag of the singles is going to weigh about 5-ish pounds maybe, and the 4 or the tri, that's going to be like 10 pounds per bag, just divided by 2. Very lightweight. If weight is your consideration, these guys are it. Now, the most important spec of all: battery life. How long do these lights last? And this right here is probably the biggest piece of information, or the reason why I do all this extensive testing. What we did was we set up a table and we took 2 to 4 of these samples and we put them on different modes and we ran them consistently, and we used our security cameras to kind of monitor and see how long the battery lasted for all of these lights in a variety of different testing, because Both Lighting claims, and yes, I'm a Both Lighting rep, but Both Lighting always overstates the battery life of their lights. They always do it. They claim that these lights can get 15 to 17 hours of battery life, and I'm straight up going to tell you that's not. No, they do not have 15 to 17 hours of battery life. They don't. So, in our testing, and the reason why we have the single and the quad is that this one should have the best battery life, and this one should have the worst because it has the most diodes. And then the tri will have battery life in between these two. So in real world testing, let's start with the single. What we ended up with is 7 hours. Worst case, we were getting about 7 hours of battery life on these. Best case, we were getting about 11 hours of battery out of these lights in the variety of different modes that we were running them on. And we'll talk about those modes in the function section that's after this, the functionality of these lights. Now, surprisingly, or I guess not surprisingly, but there is a bigger battery in the quad and the tri. It's the same one. And what we found is worst case, we were getting 9 hours of battery on the quad, and best case, we were getting about 11 hours of battery. So the tri probably will come in somewhere around 10 to 12 hours of battery, but basically this one has better battery life than the singles do, which is sort of surprising, but it's a bigger battery in this. I mean, this light basically weighs twice as much, which that weight is purely pretty much the battery. And if you can see, it's actually a little bit bigger as well. Not too much bigger, about 1/2 inch. Thickness wise, it's about 1/4 inch bigger. Yeah, better battery life by a couple hours. So 7 to 11, 9 to 11 hours of battery life in our personal testing here in the workshop. We already kind of mentioned this, but charging wise, it is a little dongle. So you plug it in down here and you plug this into the wall, and there's a little LED light here that'll glow red when it's charging, and it'll be green when it's fully charged. So that's how you tell the battery life on them. There is a yoke on these lights, so if you want to mount them with an oak lamp, you can do that, or you can take it off. We'll probably be taking them off, to be honest. Then function-wise, there's just 2 buttons. There is an on and off, and then there is a function button. And then you have 2 LEDs here. One indicates the function mode that you're on, and the other one indicates the battery life. And a lot of this is detailed in the manual that comes with these lights, but the battery indicator will be green when there's 76 to 100% battery, so over 75%. Once it's in the 50 to 75, it'll be yellow. It will be red, solid red, when it is 25 to 50% battery, and it'll be flashing red when you're under 25% battery. Also to note, you probably already noticed it, but they come in silver, so in all silver housing, or a dope matte black finish as well. The fronts all look like this. They have this kind of blue pattern to them, but they come in silver and matte black housing, which is pretty dope. And then when it comes to control, they ship with these RF remotes. If you don't know what RF, it's like Bluetooth sort of Wi-Fi, so you don't have to necessarily point this at the light, which is dope. So it doesn't rely on line of sight. So you can set up a bunch of these around the room and you can literally just click the red button and they'll all turn to red, which is pretty sick. We'll get into that in the functionality. They also have wireless DMX built into all of the lights, which is pretty sick as well. And lastly, they also have master slave, which brings us to the next section on functionality, how to control these lights and how they actually operate and work. Like I mentioned, this button right here is the button to switch between the different modes that the light has. So all of those modes are documented right here. Basically, we have red, which is a snap mode. It just snaps between different colors. Red flashing indicates that it is transmitting as a master to the other slaves. Green is a fade mode. Same thing, if it's flashing, it's a master. Blue is a strobe mode. Flashing is master. Yellow is sound active. Flashing, it is a master. Pink, if it is on pink, it is set to the RF remote control so that you can use the RF remote control. So all your lights have to be on pink if you want them to be able to be controlled with the RF remote. And then we get to Scion, which Scion is both our DMX and our slave channel. So if you want to use DMX, you need to have them all on Scion. If you want to have them as slaves doing whatever the master, that is all of these things, is doing, then you need to have it on Scion as well, and it'll be flashing Scion when it is receiving signal, whether it is from the DMX transmitter or whether it's from one of the masters. And I'll explain that in further detail here in a demonstration. So that goes over kind of all of the different modes, but let's demonstrate now those modes and how you would use them. First, starting off with the RF remote. So first thing, we need to move all of these to the pink channel. There we go, we're on pink. So now that they're both on pink, if I take the RF remote and I hit red, they turn red. If I hit green, if I hit any color on here, they do that. If I hit the snap mode, they're gonna go snapping through the colors. And like I mentioned, I don't have to have this facing or pointing at them at all. I can just literally hit the buttons. It's RF, it's not line of sight, which is nice. Only downside here is that if I hit the sound mode, right? So say basically we're gonna use this pink color for the ceremony and now it's time to party. If I hit sound mode, they do their own sound mode, so they don't actually sync together in a master slave fashion. I will explain how you can do that here in a second, and it's a little frustrating. So you would think I can just turn one of these to the slave mode, which over here is Scion. So if I change this one right here to the Scion color, it's in slave mode. But the RF remote, when you're on the RF remote function, it does not transmit the master slave. So to make this one's on the Scion, which is like a teal color. To get it to slave, I need to make this a master, which means I need to be on either red, green, blue, or yellow, which are snap mode, fade mode, strobe mode, or sound active mode. So I'm going to click in, that's the Scion. Red, so now I'm on snap mode. As you can see, this one is now slaved. The red is flashing to indicate this is the master. All good. We go to the next one, it automatically changes. Now we're on fade mode. We go to strobe mode, we're on strobe mode. And then now we're on sound active. So this is the master of sound active. This is our slave. That is right there is how you get it on master slave sound active mode so that they're all synced on the exact same thing. But if you are not on pink, these buttons don't do anything. That is the downside. Let me try and explain that a little bit simpler. The RF remote, it's great, but the RF remote is the only way to set a solid color, and you are limited to these colors right here. You are 100% limited to whatever is on this remote. So you can only set those certain colors unless we're getting to DMX. DMX is the next phase we're gonna go to. If you just wanna use these lights like they are out of the box without any DMX software, this is what you get. You get the remote, and you can change it to whatever color you want as long as all of the lights are set to the pink remote function. The good part is you don't have to have line of sight, so you can just push a button and all the lights in the room will all literally change because this doesn't require line of sight. So when I hit red, all of the lights in the room are going to turn red. Awesome. And I don't have to point this remote at anything. All these lights, literally, this remote's pointing this way, change the color easily. Love the RF functionality of that. What sucks is, if you want to do sound active and you push this sound active mode because it's time to party, you could, well, let me back up. You could hit the snap mode and this light's going to snap around to basically these few colors and they'll all do it in unison because you hit the snap at the same time. But if you hit sound mode, now each light is doing its own sound active thing. They are not synced together doing the same sound active, same changing of colors. The only way to do that is you have to go now around the room and turn all of your lights to the cyan slave mode. So the light blue, you need to turn all your lights to it, and then the light closest to you, you need to manually hit this button and change it to the yellow sound active mode. Right there, yellow sound active. Now all the lights are gonna do the exact same sound active. But now you can't use this remote. The remote doesn't work anymore. So if you wanted to go back to a solid color, you now have to go change all the lights back to the pink remote function so you can do a solid color. That right there, functionality wise, that's a big F in my category because DJs, you wanna use them sound active, right? That's the best way to do it, but it doesn't work. Like, they don't master slave together and they all look like they're doing garbage puke colors all around the room to the wall. I mean, it's great, honestly, the RF function, being able to use the remote and change the colors and make all of them the same color throughout the room, but the sound functionality just sucks. And the only way to make it look good is you gotta go around and change every light in the whole entire room. So that's a big F in my category. RF remote though, for solid colors, A+, A+ right there. So if you guys are thinking about using these for like just solid colors only, RF remote, simple, leave them on the pink function, go press the button, they all go do the same thing. Where these come in handy? Rentals. Rentals and solid colors, events where you don't need to use a sound active mode. A+, 100%. Sound active mode, F. F, unless you're using it for just sound active only. Lastly here though, we do need to talk about wireless DMX, because yes, all of these lights have built-in wireless DMX, which is awesome if you guys already use DMX, because then you can make the lights do exactly what you want to do, especially if you use like sound switch or something like that. So let's go through how you make that work with these lights. All right, so now on to wireless DMX functionality. And there is one, if not two, big downsides to wireless DMX with these lights. First off, if you notice, there's no screen on these lights. So how do you change the DMX channel? They are all stuck on DMX channel 1. So if you want to do wireless DMX, all the lights will be doing the exact same thing. There's no way to create alternate at all. They're all going to be doing the exact same thing. So for some of you guys, that might be okay. For some of you guys, you might hate that. And for some of you guys, you might be able to make it work. They all work on DMX channel 1. Secondly, wireless DMX. So you have to have one of these wireless DMX transmitters to work with these lights. So this right here is what communicates to the lights, to tells them what to do. Now you have to plug this in to some sort of DMX interface, whether that's the Show Express right here. This is a Show Express box. There is a sound switch box. ADJ makes a box, but you have to have the DMX output hardware as well as the software on a computer to run these lights. Actually, some of them have iPad control, like the ADJ Wi-Fi or ADJ My DMX Go, I believe, it's an iPad interface, but you have to have a DMX interface. And if you want to learn more about DMX, go check out my whole entire playlist. I'll link it down below on wireless DMX, how wireless DMX works, as well as everything you need to know about Shabby Show Express. And I've also got some recent videos where I've been using Sound Switch. More info on that to come in the future, but you need to have some sort of DMX interface that does it. Hopefully you guys understand that. This transmitter right here is what communicates to the lights. Now this is a donor branded one. We actually sell these at Both Lighting. You can buy one of these, but they're all the same Chinese wireless DMX transmitters. All of them will work. If you need one, we got them. If you got one from Donor or Chingli or some of those other Amazon brands, they're all the same thing. They all work. These wireless DMX, go check out my video on the Donor specifically, but right here, this color indicates the transmit signal. So there's like 7 different colors you can use. Like you can cycle through like red, green, blue, yellow, teal, etc. All of them by default come on the red frequency. Now the problem with that is that the red frequency is what every last single Chinese wireless DMX thing from China uses. So your likelihood of having interference with something else from China in your venue, in your space, if there's another DJ using wireless DMX, is likely. Which is why downside to these lights is they are automatically on that red channel, that default, and you can't change it. There's your second negative. The first negative is the fact that they're all on channel 1. The second negative is that they are stuck on the standard red DMX channel, which is the first one, or the red DMX wireless DMX frequency, which comes stock from the factory. I highly always tell all of my guys that have these lights right here, the S4s, there's a button on the front and you can change the color to any of those different colors that you want. Again, red is the default from the factory, but like at our company, Fusion Sound Lighting, all of our guys use blue. I've talked to some other companies and like they use teal, and all of them have found the same reason. You want to change them off that factory first channel. So there's con number 2 of wireless DMX before we even get into it. But let me show you guys the channels, because the manual does not even tell you what the channels are for these lights. Again, this is my Show Express software. I just pulled a random fixture because these fixtures aren't even listed on most DMX things. Same thing with most Chinese uplights. You have to create a manual fixture inside of your software for them. If you don't know how to do that, again, just follow along with my videos on wireless DMX. But channel number 1 for these lights is, so if we go down here, so channel number one is our master fader. Channel number 2 is red. Then we have green, blue, white, amber, and UV. So there's eight total channels that you're going to be operating on. DMX channel 1, like I said, is your master fader. So I just brought that up. Channel 2 is your red. Channel 3 is your green, channel 4 is your blue, channel 5 is your white, channel 6 is your amber, channel 7 is your UV, and channel 8 is your strobe. So if you want the lights to strobe, you just bring the strobe up 0 to 255, 255 being the max strobe. I can put another color on here, and there you guys can see the strobe a little better. But that is wireless DMX in a nutshell for you guys. That is how it works. You set all of them to Scion, you have a wireless DMX transmitter set to the red channel, and then that's how it works. So if you guys can't tell so far in this video, from a functionality standpoint, there's a lot of hurdles to using these lights to the maximum degree. When it comes to wireless DMX, there's hurdles. So when it comes to master slave, there's hurdles. So it really comes down to what you're going to be using these for, and I'll talk about that in my personal opinion of recommendations for how to use these in the up and coming section. But this section now, we want to talk about comparisons between these lights. And I'm holding this light because this honestly is my favorite light that they have in this Ape Lab model, is the 4 unit, the RF-4. But we want to compare it to apples here. So this right here is the S4. These are my go-to lights. If you go watch, I have a video comparing this light to its smaller little brother, the S4 Mini, and I talk about in that video that personally this is my kind of go-to light. The S4 4 diodes is my go-to light. They do sell an S6, but again, in that video I talk about the differences between this one and the other ones, and that's not what this video is about. This video, we're talking about the S4 versus the RF-4 or the RF-1 or the RF-3. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the RF, this is the best light. In my opinion, this right here is the go-to. It's our #1 seller. I mean, we sell these lights, so I can tell you straight up off the hand, the S4 is the #1 selling up light that we have. Don't get the S6, get the S4. But how does it compare to the RF-4? Well, first off, we just price-wise, and we'll talk about pricing a little bit here in a bit, but price-wise, this light is nearly, if not half the price. Mostly because it's smaller and more lightweight. So price-wise, significantly lower for the RF-4. Weight-wise, significantly less. Size-wise, significantly less. Functionality, not so much. The functionality, there's a lot more functionality in this light. This light does everything that you want it to really do. There's an LCD screen here that you can switch between all the different modes. It does master slave, and it does master slave via IR remote. It's IR, so it's pointed. So if you have one of these lights beside your booth and you point the remote at it and turn it to red, all the other lights are gonna sync to red. If you change the sound active, all the other lights are gonna follow this light and do sound active. The master slave functionality of this is way better, and obviously wireless DMX, you can change any channel you want in the world. You can change the wireless DMX color here. This light functionality wise has everything you could ever want, but it's big, bulky, heavy, and all that fun stuff. Output wise, and again, I'm comparing this one because this is the closest one, but I'm gonna pop some pictures up right now. We did the RF-4 versus the S4 versus the RF-1. And if you can't tell from the pictures, the RF-4 is 4 times brighter than the RF-1. Pretty self-explanatory for that. What you probably can't tell in the video is that the RF-4 is basically, literally, it looks like, and in person, it literally looks to be just as bright as the S4. The S6 is very comparable to the S4 when it comes to its output as well. Again, I got a whole separate video that goes S4 versus S6. Output-wise, these two right here are very, very similar. The only difference, and I mentioned this back in the specs, is the beam angle. This has a wider coverage than this one. This one's more of a tight, narrow beam. This one's a wider coverage. I would actually argue that the RF-4 here is practically the same type of output as the S6, because the S6 also has that really wide angle coverage. So output wise, surprisingly, this light right here also has about the same output as the S4 and the S6, so you're not sacrificing when it comes to output. Of course, these are brighter diodes in here. These are all 18 watt, these are 12 watt diodes, but I took these out to a venue and honestly, it's hard to tell the difference. In terms of functionality, S4 is still the winner. S4 is still by far the most versatile functional light, but this guy right here, when it comes to weight, size, and compactness, honestly can't be beat. So that's a comparison of what I consider the king of uplights that we sell is the S4 versus the new Ape Lab knockoffs and all that. But now let's talk about, we've talked about all the pros, the cons, the negatives, functionality, all that fun stuff, but let's get to my personal opinion for what is best usage-wise for these lights. So after having these lights, testing them, going through all the functionality, in my opinion here, let's talk about the models first before I get into what I personally think these are best used for. RF1, RF3, RF4. Personally, I don't see why anyone would want to get the RF1. It's a single diode. It's not that bright. I used it in some venues. It's literally not that noticeable unless you need just one diode for something. Leave it in the comment section down below if you know, but I wouldn't get these unless budget is a big play, because there is a good difference. It's about, I want to say it's about $20 to $40 per light difference between like these two. So when you buy a bunch of them, they add up fast, but I don't think this one's it. This guy, on the other hand, or the RF3 are the best options, but the RF3 versus the RF4 is not much of a price jump. So this right here is by far my favorite light in this RF lineup. Highly recommend the RF4. And if you do get it, I always love to get the matte black, because I don't know if you can tell on camera, but look at all those fingerprints. Look at all those fingerprints. Matte black, no fingerprints, no problem. Matte black. Usage wise, if you are someone that does a lot of rentals or a lot of events with solid colors only, like you don't DMX your lights and you just do a lot of solid color stuff, or if you have a lot of rentals, aka that's what we're going to be using them for, and solid colors, these are a great option. You'll take these out to the event, you'll leave them on the pink RF remote function, you can go and change the colors to whatever it is that you want for the event. You can even leave this remote with the client, and because they send you literally one remote for every single light that you buy, so you got endless remotes, so if someone does leave a remote, it's not a big deal. But you literally can leave this with the client, be like, yeah, if you want to change the color later or activate the fade mode, you can do that. Leave this with the client. So for rentals, this is a great option, 100%. I personally, our company, we're buying 16 of these matte black RF4s strictly for rentals. Normally we don't have more than one rental in a week as of now, but as we expand, we'll probably get more, because I can literally take two of these little briefcases of 8, hell, it doesn't matter what car it is. It's super easy. It literally takes 2 hands, just one briefcase in each hand. They can walk into the venue, set up the uplights, leave and go. We always take 16 uplights to every single event. Little plug there, that's why I love 8-unit cases. Our S4s are all in 8-unit cases, and we have 4-unit soft bags as well. That is great for single colors only. Awesome. If you want to use these on sound active mode, just know that it is not gonna look great, because all the lights in the room are gonna be doing their own sound active thing. If there's lights far away from the music, they might not hear it as well. You can adjust the sound sensitivity on them. It's very tricky to do. I don't recommend trying to do it, but all the lights are gonna be flashing and doing random stuff around the room. If you love that, that's great. I don't like that personally. If I wanted to use these on sound active, I would turn them to master slave mode, but I talked about earlier, you gotta go around the whole entire room and change all the lights to a different function, which is a pain in the ass and is not practical in any way, shape, or form. If you were using them for just sound active, then that's great. Or if you're using them for like fade and sound active, that's great. But if you remember what I said, the only way to do solid colors is to have the RF function. And when you're on the RF function, you can't do master slave. Big bummer right there. So from a DJ standpoint, I don't really think these lights are a great option unless you're trying to DMX them. We did talk about the limitations when it comes to DMXing them. They all have to be on the same DMX channel 1, so they all have to be doing the same thing. There are some wireless interference possibilities that could come into play. Not a great thing to be considering at an event, but from a DMX standpoint, it is possible to do, and you get all the functionality and all the control over the lights to do whatever you want from a wireless DMX standpoint, which is pretty awesome. You can do the solid colors, you can have them bounce around to the music, whatever software you're using, Sound Switch, Shave, ADJ, they'll work, and they'll work flawlessly. So if you can't tell from my opinion on these, I personally would not be using these from a DJ standpoint, but more or less from a rental or solid color only events. That's kind of my recommendation with these lights. You can use them, it depends on your clients, it depends on your company and how you plan on using them, because you can't really argue with the price. Let's talk about pricing real quick and how you can order them, because that's kind of the wrapping up of this video. So price wise, I'm gonna leave this very vague for you guys, mostly because pricing changes, because it's based on shipping cost, it's based on the time of year. This video is being filmed right now in September of 2022. So if you're watching this in the future, the price could well be double the price I'm speaking of right now. Don't take my price like it's set in stone. This price could change tomorrow, yesterday, back and forth. You never know. What you're gonna be looking at, if you're looking at buying 4-unit soft bags, the RF-4 is gonna be less than $100 per light. It's roughly like right around $100, a little bit less than $100 as I'm speaking right now. The RF-1 is more like $70 to $80 per light. If you get them in the bigger 8-unit charging cases, you're looking at just over $100 a light, so like 101, 105, something like that. And you're looking at, I think, around $90 a light for these. So basically what I'm trying to say is that these lights are right around, if not less than $100 per uplight, and that is out the door pricing. That is literally shipped to your door pricing, less than $100 per light, which is insane. I remember personally buying my ADJ, not battery powered, ADJ wired like PAR profiles that were just red, green, and blue, and they were like $100 per light. So this is insane where technology has came. Not to mention these are like way brighter. And I can't stress enough, the S4, this is my like best light ever. I love these lights. We have over 50 of them at this point. They're all amazing. They're super simple to use, but look at this difference. Just, this light is like 25% the size of the S4. And this light right here weighs 7 pounds. This one weighs 2 pounds. You can't beat that. That's incredible. And not to mention the battery life on both of these is almost the same. It's crazy. And the output, almost the same. It's insane. So yeah, wrapping it all up, I recommend the RF-4 for people that want to do solid colors, or if the other functionality options you think will work for you, highly recommend them. These are a solid light. Like I said, we're gonna buy 16 of them, and I'm really excited to get these in our inventory because they're just so versatile because of how small, light, and portable they are. Not to mention, price-wise, you're gonna make your money back on them twice as fast because they cost half as much. Hey, I did forget to mention, we actually purchased a bunch of these here at Fusion Sound and Lighting to have stock and try out, and we really don't have a use for these lights. We actually have them in 6-unit bags, so these are the RF ones, so we're gonna give these away at basically a really good steal. If you guys want one, we have 10 of these bags available, 6 lights in each one. They are the RF ones. They come with all of the chargers and everything that you'll need. And we're going to sell these all for $350 a case. So $350 per case. Let us know if you would like one of the deal options. If you guys would like to purchase these lights, like I mentioned earlier in the video, we, Fusion Sound Lighting, FSL, we are dealers based in the US, the only dealer based in the US that can get you guys both lighting up lights. We can get you all the info, all the pricing, and all the awesome customer support that we can do. All you need to do, you can do one of two things. One, comment down below and say, I want up lights, I want info. I'll comment and give you guys a link to go get more info, more pricing info, or there's a link in the description or on the first comment that you can just click directly. Go to that, it'll take you to a landing page where you guys can get more info on these lights, and you can also fill out the form to get exact pricing info for your country and whatnot. Not to mention, these are shipped worldwide, so we are a US-based dealer, but we do have the connections to ship these worldwide for you guys and get you guys all the pricing details. So if you would like more info, go do that. If you could also hit the subscribe button for me. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction, but go down there, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 60,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Leave a like on this video because I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below what you guys think of these lights, or personally, just what's your opinions based on what I showed you. Do you think these are as good as the new Ape Labs, or as good as the original Ape Labs, or do you think they got some room to work? In my opinion, basically, they're the Ape Labs lights, but they lack the Ape Lab functionality. The Ape Labs have great functionality with their controls, and these, again, they are a knockoff, and they got the light. Obviously, this looks exactly like the Ape Labs. The output is the same, if not better. But they do have some work to do on their functionality. Anyways, guys, that's all from the shop today. We will have more uplighting content, or more both lighting content coming soon, because right behind me, we just got in 2 cases of spot movers and wash movers from both lighting, and I'm super excited to see how they are and put them through the paces and get you guys all the info. We also have battery operated cold sparks. You heard me there. We have battery packs for cold sparks, and they can also power movers. Lots of great content coming related to both lighting products for you guys. And again, if you guys want to purchase any of this, please contact us. We will take care of you. We give you the best customer service possible. Again, link in the description down below, link in the first comment, or just comment down below and say, I want some info on these up lights, Rick, so I can give you guys a link. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for supporting everything that we do here at Fusion Sound and Lighting. Keep the record spinning, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.